Hey, let's talk about brakes. This car, I haven't even taken it off the trailer yet because, well, it has no brakes. So there's, you know, big hole in a brake shoe or brake drum there. And this car's been sitting since 1982, and let's be honest, drum brakes suck. So today I'm going to show you how to turn these to this. Okay, so basically pull all the old brake crap off. You're not going to reuse any of it. Don't reuse the bolts. We're not that cheap. Same with, the only thing you're going to reuse is that brake line, brake hose retainer. You got to drill it out for the new brake hose, not a big deal. I went ahead and sprayed it with some engine paint while I had it off, and then started machining the hubs. The hubs, you have to machine about 300 thousandths from the outside diameter of them. There's a notch in them for, I don't know why, but that notch, basically once you machine that notch off, you're good to go. You can kind of see it right there. I don't actually have any video of pulling the shoes or the drums off. The drums on a Studebaker press onto the back of the hub between the wheel studs and the actual hub itself. The main reason I don't have any video is because mine were basically falling apart. I only had one and it had a big hole in it, so figured out. That's the finished hub, and these are just a whole bunch of parts that you're going to need. Basically, you know, your standard brake job stuff, also wheel bearings, and a couple of line fittings that are a little bit different, but I'll explain that at the end. You got to drill out the holes for the wheel studs. I used my mill for this. If you're going to use a hand drill, hang on to it because it will try and throw you across the room. And that's just some Loctite Quick Metal, I think it's what it's called. It's for keyway repair that I'm putting on the studs. The studs don't have a ton of interference fit, so that just helps kind of snug them up a little bit and makes me feel a little better. Just some added insurance is all it really is. I didn't actually film putting the studs in, but hopefully you guys know how to do that. Then grease up the spindle. You can see that spindle on this car was actually in pretty good shape considering it's been off the road since '82, but changed the wheel bearings, greased everything up, reassembled all of it. In this, I did torque the spindle nut later, but I didn't do it right then because I had grease all over my hands and I didn't know the torque value. Put the rotor on, just put a couple of bolts on it for just to check the run out. The run out was good. So then I moved on to drilling all the bolts for safety wire. You don't actually have to do this. You can use Loctite. I just use both because I think safety wire is cool looking, but Loctite makes the most sense. So, and it's actually kind of a huge pain in the ass drilling the holes in the bolts. I had to make that little fixture is what's being drilled right now. So, you know, drilling a tiny hole on a slanted surface in a grade 8 bolt is not fun. But I had the safety wire pliers and I never actually got to use them, so, you know, I wanted to play around with them. These are the caliper brackets that I made. They're 1/2 inch 304 stainless, just because that's what I had laying around. You could actually get away with 3/8 and it would probably be a lot easier because then you wouldn't have to machine that shoulder into them. But I had 1/2 inch, so I used 1/2 inch. You can kind of see on the back side there's some spacers that I welded on just to be able to use the factory caliper bolts from a Mustang, which you can get off the shelf at Advance, along with you can't get red rotors and drilled and slotted calipers and everything off the shelf. But if you're broken down on the way to a car show or something, you can get, you know, a caliper in stock at most parts places, and that was kind of the main motivation for this. So basically I safety wired them all off, or safety wired the front side off the car, so that it made it a whole lot easier whenever I put it on the car. And it's just kind of showing a real quick overview of how safety wire pliers operate. Okay, maybe I didn't show it, but whatever, it's pretty simple. Basically, you clamp them on and then pull the thing at the end, and it spins the set of pliers and tightens the wire. Then just kind of throwing them back on the car. And I apparently look like I have no idea what I'm doing, but I only used 3 bolts on the one side because that's all Studebaker used, and it just seemed like a kind of a waste of material to go all the way around it, and just added time and everything else. I think if I brake hard enough to snap 3 grade 8 3/8 bolts, I got bigger problems. So, and there's just the whole thing bolted up, just kind of throwing a cotter pin in the end. Same thing with the pads. I didn't film in putting the pads in or anything, because if you don't know how to do this, this is probably not the project for you guys. So, and that's pretty much it. Stay tuned. I'll talk about, you know, some special considerations with this sort of setup. Alright, so a couple of other things you're probably going to need to know about doing this is that, one, these are Mustang Rotors and Calipers and everything, and the lines are from a Mustang, and they don't have the same size line, driver's side to passenger side, just on the front. One of them has a bigger fitting. It's not really a big deal. It's just that you're going to have to get a different tube nut whenever you do run all the hard lines. They're both inverted flare. Now the rear, I'm also using a rear end from a Mustang, and the rear lines are bubble flare. So whenever I googled it, apparently they're metric bubble flare at the master cylinder, and then somewhere they changed to inverted flare, just a standard size, and then they are a 10mm banjo bolt at the actual caliper, which is stupid. But I'm not running a master cylinder from a Mustang, so I don't really care. But which brings us to our next point, which is that this isn't gonna cut it. One, it's single reservoir master cylinder. 2, every bit of this is locked up. I had to cut it off with plasma cutter. So yeah, it's junk. Probably later I'll do a video on how to adapt a Chevrolet style master cylinder onto this, and I don't know, I might do a video on it, I might not. But in any case, if you guys want to see any more about this car, just, you know, let me know. Somewhere here will be the links for my Instagram and my Facebook and stuff like that. So definitely give me a shout. Let me know what you think. I'm not a mechanic. So, you know, if I'm doing something you think is stupid, let me know too. I don't care. I got thick skin. So anyway, thanks guys.